right, so welcome back. Episode number 8, No Cap Sports Podcast. And in honor of Georgia's win over Alabama in the college football championship, got to name this one the AJ Green episode. So let's get right into it. Josh, hit us with that fire.
Bro. First of all, number 8. I know, like you said, Georgia just won the national championship last night. But you just going to skip over Kobe like that? That's a little tough. Not going to lie. Just first person I thought of when you said that. I know, yeah, that's kind of inexcusable, bro. Not going to lie. But, you're a low-key idiot, but I love you anyways. Yes, unfortunately, as most of our audience knows, there was an unfortunate murder in our city of a, hip hop legend, icon, business mogul, all of those sorts of things. Adolphus Thornton Jr., aka Young Dolph, aka the voice of the streets. Shout out my boy Dirk and whatnot. Recently, I guess over the past 24 to 48 hours, they have identified a suspect, a close friend of his. But just a sad situation in general, like I touched on before. In light of the situation where we have Dolph's murder, I just wanted to backtrack and recap some of because unfortunately this is a trend of hip hop where rising stars in the industry, even established stars, somebody like Dolph, they get gunned down before they're victims of gun violence before their rightful time on this earth comes to an end. So I'm gonna just read off a couple of names. Y'all probably recognize most of them. Some of them that you might not know. And y'all tell me if out of all the names I read, one of these artists you would bring back and why. So obviously talk about Dolph, the original first rap murder. You're talking about Jam Master Jay, one of the original hip hop artists, gunned down in the studio in Queens, New York. I think he was 23, 24, still on sauce. Obviously, the two biggest ones, you have, Biggie Smalls and Tupac Shakur. A lot of people think those are related in some way. Some people think that those cases have been solved, but officially, going by the police record, these incidents are still cold cases. We talk about Pop Smoke. That was something that was a little bit more recent. I don't know if they found his murderer yet either. Y'all can feel free to chime in if y'all believe they have.
Yeah, they found him.
They did?
Yeah, it was like a 14-year-old.
Damn, a 14? That's crazy.
He tried to cut off his watch, I'm pretty sure.
Talking about Big L, again, one of the older generation New York artists. I think he got murdered around early 1990s, kind of in a similar way as Jam Master Jay, kind of, in New York, in and out, running out of the studio, things like that. And unfortunately just got laid down. You got one of the more notorious deaths in history, especially Southern hip hop history. You talk about Soulja Slim, one of the original No Limit artists, running with guys like Lil Wayne. Why am I blaming all the other Cash Money people? Master P, all them No Limit guys. All when New Orleans was ruling the world in hip hop in the early 2000s. Yeah, that was Soulja Slim was a big part of that. And then lastly, something that was even more recent, somebody that I was not aware of, so I won't pretend to hop on their wave. Franco the Ruler. I think he's a LA-based artist. Then this is probably the most recent murder on this list, because I think that happened less than a week ago or something. And obviously, you have the recent passing of Missy Hustle out in California. So it's LA is looking pretty crazy. I know there's some different rumors about him and YG not seeing eye to eye per se, but at the end of the day, it's still no reason for nobody to lose their life over no music. So based on the list I gave you guys, name me one of those artists that you have to bring back, and how much of the impact their catalog would have if they continued on.
I guess I'll go first. If I had to bring one person back, I'd probably bring back Biggie, just because, in my opinion, he was the greatest rapper of that era. And it would have been interesting to see how his career would have continued to develop and grow if he was, never unfortunately gunned down. So I think, just looking at what he was doing with Bad Boy Records with P. Diddy, and if he continued to live and strive through that, I think not only Biggie, but Bad Boy Records would be one of the greatest music empires of all time.
I like it, Nick. I like it. Go, Vance.
Most recently, I want to say Pop Smoke, just because I feel like he had a lot of potential. But I think I'm gonna just go with the answer that a lot of people probably go with, and that's Tupac. Just because like he was a great rapper, but he also was a great just an artist in general. Like he was in lots of TV shows, lots of movies. He did hella cameos. He was like so talented, bro. I feel like we missed out on a lot of art from him just because he was killed at such a young age.
That's also a fact. You know, like you said, Tupac, one of the most iconic artists of any generation, obviously led to the revitalization of West Coast hip hop and kind of bringing that culture to a front. You know, leading to a lot of East Coast West Coast beef, which him and Biggie were the center of. So I like what you said, Nick. Actually, I think Vance is kind of going down a similar path in terms of trajectory of not only the individual artists, but also like the different companies and stuff they had. Like you talk about, Death Row with Tupac, Death Row West. And then like next they talk about Bad Boy. As successful as Diddy is now, who knows how much more successful he'd be if Biggie Smalls was alive. Making albums and making money and doing a lot of different things that he would I feel like he would kind of age into like a Jay-Z role to where he wouldn't be putting out as much music, but the different brands and the interest that he would have would be significant because how much Biggie I'm saying Biggie Small and Tupac, both of their names alarm ring serious bells when you say it, and they passed over 20 years ago. So I just from my perspective, those guys definitely be there. A lot of people consider them 1-2 right now in terms of greatest MCs ever. To recap, a lot of crazy stuff going around. I guess I don't know. Nick probably don't even want me to say his name, so I ain't gonna say his name. But that's an unfortunate situation going on with Dolph and them. You hate to see people that appear to be close at one point end up like this. So stop all this killing, man. All these different cities, Memphis, Atlanta, Detroit, Chicago, all these big metropolitan places, like. Let these artists grow and develop and be safe in their own city. Too many times people got to leave their own city to feel comfortable, and that shouldn't be the case.
We witnessed the Georgia Bulldogs take down Alabama 33-18 to win their first national championship since 1980. And not only was it Georgia's first national championship, it's also the second time in history that Nick Saban has lost to one of his former assistants. Jimbo Fisher did it early in the regular season when Texas A&M beat Bama, and Kirby Smart did it Monday night when he captured the national championship. So there's a lot of history in this game. So I just want to see what you guys think. What did you guys think about this game? What did Georgia show you? What did Alabama not show you? Let's just talk about it.
That my pockets ain't what they really need to be right now. Because I bet some money on Alabama and they let they
tough.
Really bad.
Real tough, buddy.
They set me back a couple of decades, not gonna lie to you. The Georgia Bulldogs
you put that much money on them?
Man, I'm trying to pay our student loan.
I ain't pocket watching. I'm just
man, understood though, bro.
Man, the Georgia Bulldogs showed me that they the best defense I've ever seen in my life. That was the best defensive line I've ever seen in college football. That's the best linebacker core I've ever seen in college football. Like, not one time miss. Only time Alabama made plays was maybe on a deep pass with a safety.
Jameson Williams. That was their longest play from scrimmage.
Man, and now if Jameson was there, it might have been a different story. I'm not gonna lie. If just him or Mitch was there, it might have been a different story. But Georgia, they played. That was the best exhibition of football I've ever seen on the defensive side of the ball. I haven't even watched Georgia all season. But just watching that defense, I've seen the stats, bro. I'll be having to work on the weekends, bro. It's tough out here. But anyways, bro, the defense, the stats don't lie, and the film don't lie. That's the best defense I've ever seen.
Yeah, bro. But to your point about Jameson and Mechie, bro, I don't think the result changes if those two guys play. And the reason I say that is because what that Georgia defense did to Bryce Young, it wouldn't allow those two guys to get off like we're accustomed to them getting off. Yes, Jameson Williams had that one big catch in the second quarter, the play where he ended up unfortunately getting hurt. But if you look at it, that was the second quarter. All the way up to then, he hadn't made that much of an impact on the game. And a lot of that goes into how that Georgia defense played Bryce Young. They put a lot of pressure in his face. They disguised their looks a lot. Because if you realize, Georgia was a heavy man coverage team coming into this game, But when they were bringing pressure against Bryce Young, they switched to a lot of zone looks, forced him to use his eyes more than, hey, let me go to the best one-on-one matchup I got. Because now you can't throw the ball to the matchup. You got to throw the ball to the open spots in the zone. And that really worked in Georgia's favor, especially if you look in all of Alabama's red zone trips in the first and second half when they walked away with field goals. That Georgia defense was clamping down in the red zone, not allowing any touchdowns and not allowing Alabama to expose their favorable one-on-one matchups. And that's what really won them the game. That front seven combined with their creative defensive play on the back end, I think that's what got Georgia this championship.
Yeah, bro. Like Vance touched on earlier, there are certain defenses that are very well rounded, but they usually have on one level of the ball. Be they got elite pass rushers, the sideline to sideline linebackers. You see a guy like recently in Georgia, Roquan Smith, or they got usually elite secondary play. But it's crazy to see a team that's elite at every level of the defense. Offense, whatever. Stetson Bennett, he did ball, but I'm talking about elite at every level on the defense. You're talking about
they had D linemen running down wide receivers. I've never
oh God.
Not only D linemen, nose tackles, not no edge rushers. You got
350 pounders, bro.
99. You got Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, like all interior guys, as an interior guy. You don't chase down like running back screens and stuff like that on the perimeter, but that's what they were able to. They did that, and also, in terms of doing what they were supposed to do in terms of stopping the run and running and producing pressure in Bryce Young's face. So this defense is elite at every level. You got guys that don't let you run the ball. Georgia didn't have the best game running the ball until the end, but for an Alabama team that's you can argue is going to be the most talented team every year, talking about up front and on offense, to see them just get stonewalled was, pretty amazing. And then you talk about, a guy that we know personally, you talk about Nakobe Dean, Clay Tunstall, two sideline to sideline.
Stop playing.
Come on, man. You know the time it is. The guys that, when you get if you ever make it past that, that front four, you got two guys that not only can clog up the middle, but can, like I said, play sideline to sideline, string out some of these, these backs or these screens or these things like that. Some of these, players that they call extension of the run game, things to just give your quarterback momentum. None of those things were working. And then, you got a guy like Darion Higgins, Clemson transfer that, outside of Sauce Gardner, who James Williams definitely gave 100 yards last game, probably one of the better quarters in the country. And then you got a dude that I didn't know about till yesterday, Lewis Seen, whatever, 16, talking about stick talk for real. Like, he made a couple plays when, the few times that they did run man behind a blitz to where, Nick, that safety has to come down and take the back, 15, 20 yards down the field. That dude is coming downhill quick, fast, in a hurry. So, man, like, we all play football. You go into a game planning, thinking about, okay, which area of the defense can we attack? They may be good in this area, but they maybe got, suspect corner play, or they may, they linebackers don't like to run, they can't run down stretch or things like that. We can get them on play action. I don't know how you attack this Georgia defense besides, well, I guess we just gonna hope for the best because there's literally no other way to do it. With Williams, I think Mechie, that combination of the two might have been a different story, but I don't know, because like you take off the best receiver in college football, arguably, I don't think you can say that the outcome would have been the same. And also, how did he walk after he tore his ACL?
I mean, you can still walk on it, bro.
Yeah. You just can't cut, like, do all the other movements.
But that was a long walk from the sideline to the locker room.
It's stable, but it's like if you just do the wrong movement, it just shifts down like that.
So the nigga, he was just walking. He just had to walk straight as possible the whole time.
Yeah, but like, let's say like you playing basketball, you try to go lateral, it's just gonna collapse.
Yeah.
Did it not still hurt though?
I mean,
no, you can't really feel it.
It'll be sore like as soon as you write it, as soon as you do it, but like after a while, it just feels normal.
I was just, I hate to call guys out and stuff like that, but it did look a little weird to where, one of your undisputed top guy on offense, just casually strolls out in the second half. And I don't know. Like you said, you don't know different people's situation, but if I'm a teammate of his on the Alabama side, I'm like, hey, bro, I know just something just happened to you, but you walking pretty smooth, my guy. You can catch you a screen or something.
It's a big
deep route or something. You don't got to cut on no go route. They got to do is run straight, dog.
Georgia was hitting, bro. Literally,
he said what?
Not stop on. He saw the way Georgia was hitting. Literally, you do not stop on a dime and try to dodge the tackle. They're gonna smack you.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I don't know. It wasn't the best look for me personally. Especially in the national championship game, you're supposed to get drug off the field. So
tear your ACL.
He tore his ACL,
bro. But he was. But I don't know.
Kobe tore his Achilles and walked and hit 2 feet.
Kobe. You didn't even name the episode after Kobe. Kobe Bryant, Jamison Williams, two different animals, bro.
Did the same thing. Tore his ACL, hit 2 free throws, walked to the locker room, came back out, couldn't play.
Did that stationary? You can do.
Yes, bro.
Stationary.
Okay, so if he can run straight, then he could have ran some go routes. Then.
No, he couldn't.
No.
Okay.
You sound so stupid right now.
You still gotta do your little move, get off the line, bro.
Run straight.
And you can't put that kind of force with a torn ACL, bro. You gotta strike the ground to run.
You're the best
Georgia, not Townsend, bro.
You feel me? You're walking normal. I'd at least had to go to hey, bro. What's up with you? I'm just saying. That's my perspective. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that my perspective is wrong. That's just how I would. That's what I would have did if I was in the situation. Dog, you came out kind of quick too, my guy. He wasn't even back there that long in the locker room. We could have caught you a screen pass or use it as a decoy or something.
So in that situation, in the SWAC championship, what you said? Not shit, because I was getting y'all ass beat. But anyway.
Didn't nobody tear that ACL for our team.
Coach, I can't catch your door.
Okay. It says the guy that play NIA football, whatever.
At least I play, though. At least I play.
Hey, bro, that's good for you. Guess what they not doing? Paying for it, though.
Okay. I got stats, film, videos, pictures of me playing. What you gonna show your kids? Man gonna show his kids his roster picture in a shirt and tie.
I got players against dudes that play in the NFL right now. You can't bully me when they didn't play this shit stuff, bro. I already got over that, dog.
Ooh.
I made plays against people that's in the NFL. First round, Josh Jones, David Moore.
I played against a dude who in the NFL. Whoop-de-doo.
You played against a DB that was in the NFL now. No, Nick. Shut your ass.
I went head to head with a receiver who in the league. Shut up. We had almost the same stat line.
You don't play. My personal match, I'm going against guards and tackles that are in the NFL currently. Titus Howard, David Moore, Josh Jones. That's what I'm saying. Come on now. Next topic. Got you on this one, buddy.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You play a whole season. I played more snaps in one game than you play all season. Ooh.
It's okay, bro. And look, guess what? Guess who season ended first? Mine or yours.
Okay.
I don't care, bro.
I mean, your season ended when it started because you didn't play.
And guess what, though? Guess who played against the SEC team?
Oh, my God.
It don't matter, bro.
When y'all was getting y'all ass beat. Y'all was getting y'all ass beat. You played.
A lot of these niggas did.
When you get your ass beat.
A lot of these niggas did.
You played the wall.
I mean, really, the scrub started the game because they knew what time it was. So, yeah, whatever. That. I mean, it was a fun experience. It was cool to be in Kyle Field and see how they little shit and whatnot. The little rock. And I mean, because I never played against that many people before. Because it was I think that stadium held it was a lot of people. A lot of people. I think it 100,000. No, probably 80,000, something like that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Michigan's hold 100,000.
80,000, and not one of them knew who you was when you went on the field. That's crazy. That's crazy. Bro. Except for your family, of course. If they could spot you on the sideline.
See, that's okay. See, you can talk like this because I can't say what I want to say. See, while this camera recording. So that's all right, bro. You got it, dog. You got it. Nick Hayes. Franz Bay Wide Receiver University. Go check him out, dog. Yeah. Check my man's out with his routes.
Anyway, to close this segment out, man, there are only 4 quarterbacks to beat Alabama in the college football playoff. And those 4 quarterbacks are Cardale Jones, Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, and Stetson Bennett. I know a lot of people don't like Stetson Bennett. It's time to give the man his flowers. Georgia their flowers on another national championship.
Real mailman status.
He's better than Cardale.
No, he's not.
It's a joke.
Bro. Really, we don't know how. I mean, really, we don't know how good any of those guys are at this very moment. Cardale Jones, irrelevant. Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence looks like he sucks. And Stetson Bennett,
I
mean, maybe he could be Baker Mayfield, but that's not that good of a compliment right now. So
I mean, Buddy had the 2 scoring drives they had in the second half. He went 3 for 3 for 68 yards and a tutty. And the second one, he threw a 15-yard tutty. I mean, you got to get a man.
No, for real. I'm a Stetson Bennett guy. I was a Stetson Bennett guy back when everybody said JT Daniels should have took over. But, you know, he made some plays with his legs in the run game outside of fumbling. I think he fumbled twice. But
he fumbled twice. He only lost one. And that was a fluky fumble. It was.
But you got to think about it. The first one was really lucky.
He dribbled.
So the second one was kind of iffy, but the first one he like you said, it literally came right back to him. So, but I mean, I ain't gonna lie. A lot of people talking about Stetson Bennett. I liked him a lot. I think he was a lot more athletic than people gave him credit for. But he made 2 big time throws. Well, after he fumbled, that whole drive was a big time drive. But the 2 throws I'm referring to was the 54-yarder to Pickens to where, you know, you can't.
That settled him in.
Yeah, he could have walked over there and put the ball in a better spot for him, especially to a guy that first was coming back. You know, has had some struggles within the Georgia program to get him, you know, reacclimated to the offense, get him a big play, get him, like you said, get him settled in, big play, and then also obviously, you know, the third quarter touchdown pass to Mitchell. Like I said, another ball. You can't walk over there and place it better than that. Both of those are like 50 plus yards in the air. There's no rat with one of those catches.
You know what's crazy? You putting all the credit on Stetson Bennett. The credit should be given to those wide receivers. The first throw, Pickens had to lay out to catch it. Because if Stetson Bennett throws a better ball, no offense to Stetson Bennett, he made the throw. But if he throws a better ball, that's a touchdown. And that changes the whole complex of the game. The second throw to Mitchell, that's a head ball. That's just the receiver wanting more than the DB, if we're being honest.
Facts.
Off a free play. It was still a good throw. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking nothing away from Stetson Bennett, but you got to give credit to where the credit is due.
That is facts.
I mean, that's true. That's definitely true. Especially a lot of people talk about Georgia didn't have no super dynamic guys on the outside. Those are 2 very dynamic plays. And then, like I said, their run game was a little shaky all night until the third, fourth quarter with Cook and Zamir White got a little boosted up. But no, you're absolutely right, Nick. Much I don't like to tell you that, you know, those are big time plays by those 2 receivers. And, you know, honestly, if you're going to be honest about it, Stetson Bennett outplayed the Heisman winner this year, last game. So, you know, take that for what it is. First of all, I didn't know Bryce Young was that short. I did not. Till I seen him walk out with Evan Neal at the start of the game, I was like, who is that? Is that the backup? I was like, oh, shit, that's Bryce Young.
I don't think that's fair.
I didn't know he was.
That he outplayed him, though. That's not fair to say that.
Bryce Young had to do a lot more. Bryce Young threw 57 passes, bro.
I mean, neither one of them could run the ball.
Georgia is much more successful on the ground.
Yeah.
In that second half.
But they scored. Like I said, for the first game, he outplayed him for the first 2 quarters. I mean, shit, they only kicked field goals the first half.
But both his touchdown passes were jump balls, 50-50 balls that his receivers won.
Yeah.
The balls got.
And Bryce Young also was subject to a few drops by.
He was going to tie the game up. And then number 84? I don't know who that is.
I can't remember his name, but he was a true freshman. He had like 2 drops.
Yeah, it's like the game on the line. You try to one hand Odell catch.
Yeah, he was tripping, huh? On the right sideline.
Yeah,
he
was right in the basket too.
He was tripping. My boy thought it was high school. No, sir. National championship, bro. Get your shaking hand up. But I don't know. I mean, I'm a Stetson. I can't say apologies now, but like, I'm a Stetson Bennett guy. I always like what he can do with his legs. People always talking about, oh, JT Daniels raises the ceiling on this offense. Well, I don't think the ceiling goes any much higher than a national championship. So,
hey, I was prepared to fold. If I was the head coach, I would have folded at halftime and subbed in JT. Not gonna lie.
Lame. But now at this point, you know, it looks like JT Daniels gonna be hitting the portal. Well, Stetson Bennett graduates, huh?
I think so. I'm not sure, but I think so.
I mean, if he doesn't, like, I don't see another way with that. That'll be his second year at Georgia, his third year as a 5-star not playing. And I guess it's not unusual for these guys to hit the portal now, but you know, another talented guy on the market for one of these coaches to snap up.
Coming back with y'all with an oldie but a goodie, and that's the verses. So y'all ready?
Yeah.
2 quarterbacks. Player A, through his first 15 starts, had 4,120 yards total offense, 26 touchdowns, and 12 turnovers. Player B in his first 15 starts had 4,115 yards, total offense, 29 touchdowns, and 11 turnovers. So player A had 5 more yards, but player B had 3 more touchdowns and 1 less turnover in his first 15 starts. Who would you?
I gotta go with player B, man. You look at the touchdown numbers, 1 less turnover. At the end of the day, quarterback is all about putting points on the board. So give me player B.
Fact, I'm gonna go the same way. Most of the other stats are basically identical. So, 1 less turnover, specifically with them not having that many. I think rule number 1 of the quarterback is to protect the ball. So player B does that just a little bit better than player A.
Okay. Any ideas of who player A is?
I'm gonna guess I got a feeling player B is Jalen Hurts. I just got a strange feeling.
Who do you think player A is?
Gotta be Lamar, huh?
Before we get to player B.
I see. That's how y'all talking about I cheated. I was gonna say player. I want to say player B is Lamar and player A is Deshaun Watson. But Nick Nick is probably actually right though.
Yeah, Nick is right. Player A is Lamar. Player B is Jalen Hurts.
See, that's about me. I still got it wrong. So
I'm man enough to admit when I'm wrong. For the longest, I was saying Jalen Hurts is not a starting NFL quarterback, and he is. So there you have it. I know that makes Nick happy. I know that makes Josh happy. Man.
So talking about Jalen Hurts, looking at the current playoff picture, focusing in on the wild cards, you got 3 wild card teams each division: Pittsburgh, New England, and the Raiders in the AFC, the Eagles, 49ers, and Cardinals in the NFC. So looking at these 6 wild card teams, you've got 4 quarterbacks making their first ever playoff appearance, and all of them except for one are playing for a wild card team, and that's Kyler Murray, Mac Jones, Joe Burrow, and Jalen Hurts. So looking at those 4 guys, which quarterback do you think will have the better playoff debut?
I guess I'll go first. Y'all know I've been a Cardinals enthusiast this whole entire season. Won a lot of money when the Cardinals, were triumphant over Vance's Cowboys. But with D-Hop, I don't know how long he's going to be out. I don't know what his availability is going forward. We just talked about Jalen Hurts. I will have to go with Joe Burrow. That I don't, like I said, they were one of the hotter teams coming into the wild card, coming into this playoff. Getting a big win over Kansas City last week. Joe Burrow, he's almost thrown for like 1,000 yards in the past 2 games, and he's got, out of the 4 quarterbacks that you named, he probably has the best infrastructure. In terms of being productive and getting a win. Mac Jones and the Patriots, the style of football they play is probably most translatable to the playoff. But I think there's a scenario where, the Patriots win and Mac Jones doesn't play well. But I don't see it the same way for the Bengals. Joe Burrow as a number 1 overall pick, high expectations, and especially last year with injury and things like that, there were different kind of doubts. But you evaluate that team right now, even, us, how we looked at it in the beginning, like the preseason evaluations, we talked about really the only bad thing about this team is the offensive line. And the offensive line can hold up. We talked about, the Sewell versus Jamar Chase argument, which now the season, that's just that they got it right. I don't know how Nick felt. I think I know that I felt that they made the wrong choice, but we got a guy that puts up, with 1,700 yards at this point? We got a guy that is that productive on his first league. He can argue with that selection. So you got, they got the 3-headed monster at receiver. They got, Higgins. They got Chase. They got Tyler Boyd. They got, Joe Mixon is second in the league in rush yards. They got a pretty good defense. Trey Henderson proving he's not a fluke. Von Bell, J.C. Bates. You got legitimate guys on both sides of the ball. So yeah, I think Joe Burrow. Well, you said the question was who had the best playoff debut. I think it'll definitely be Joe Burrow because I think he has the debatable between him and Cincinnati who has the best team out of the guys making their start at this very moment. I would say Arizona, but they've been struggling. And he's probably the biggest piece of his team's postseason success because even when we talk about Arizona, there's different components that play in terms of how they're successful. Chase Edmonds, James Conner, I think, led the league in touchdowns. Chase Edmonds looks really good this past couple of weeks. And they got playmakers in the back end, too. We talk about Buda Baker, Isaiah Simmons, Byer Murphy, guys like that, where Kyler doesn't necessarily have to have the best game for them to win. But I think we talk about the Bengals, and I think it all starts and ends with Joe Burrow and how well he plays. That'll determine how far they're going in the playoffs.
Yeah, I hate to do it, but I think I'm gonna agree with you on Joe Burrow, bro. He's thrown for 300 yards 6 times this season, thrown for 3 or more touchdowns 5 times this season. The Las Vegas Raiders, they're a good, solid team, but it's a lot of inconsistencies among that team on and off the field. And I wouldn't be scared to put Mac Jones second, but they're playing in a blizzard apparently when they go up to Buffalo, just like they did in the first game. With that being said, I think they have a bad matchup. Kyler Murray and against the Rams and the Cardinals. I just think it's a bad matchup. But one thing that there is to point out, the Rams just signed Eric Whittle, who he retired last season, but he's coming back to play because Taylor Rapp is gonna miss that game. If he comes back not right, I think it'll be a good opportunity for those slot receivers for the Cardinals, who are speed demons. You got Andy Isabella, Rondale Moore,
Christian Kirk.
Yeah, going right past them. So I'm gonna give Joe Burrow the slight edge over Kyler Murray.
Yeah. Just to round it up, I'm gonna agree with y'all, but I think kind of going off what you said, Vance, I think Jalen Hurts has a chance to shine in his playoff debut. You look at what that Philadelphia offense is, it's heavy run based, and Jalen Hurts is a big part of that running game, especially when you get to the red zone. Now, also, if you look at this Bucs team, the secondary has had a lot of issues in terms of staying healthy and depth and things like that. So I think even though that Philadelphia doesn't have a dynamic number one receiver, I know they have Devontae Smith, but he's still a rookie and, still kind of building, even though he had an impressive season. I think Jalen Hurts can find some ways to take advantage of that Bucs defense with his legs and, being opportunistic with the shots he can take downfield. So I agree Joe Burrow will probably have the best playoff debut, but I think Jalen Hurts will slide in as a close second right behind him.
I think it's a bad matchup for Hurts. Like, they played him early in the season. Well, they didn't even try to run the ball. I think they ran the ball.
Who does Philadelphia play?
Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers.
Oh, hell. Oh,
so they played They played early in the season. I believe the Eagles ran the ball one time in the first half, and they got booed off. Ever since that game, it's been a shift. It's like they run the ball. With that being said, the Buccaneers have one of the best run defenses in the NFL. When you have the legs of Jalen Hurts, it's the X factor. So, I mean, it's possible for it to be close. I don't know. You know what? I just can't wait to see.
Me too.
Honestly, we're going to see what Jalen Hurts is about.
Yeah.
I want to say this, though.
You guys.
I would say, I think Philadelphia may be the worst team in the playoff, honestly. I look up.
Pittsburgh Steelers have entered the
that's true. But okay, halfway through the season, I look down. Philadelphia is at the bottom of the NFC East, one of the worst conferences in football. And they were like, 1-7 or something like that. And then I look up at the end of the season, and me and my guy, Johnny Radio watching the game, I said, when did the Eagles get good? Like, I really like.
They flipped the switch. Over the second.
No.
They've been beating up. They've been beating up on really bad teams. They've been beating up on really bad teams.
Their defense has started clicking. They've started running the ball, which is major. And they found some consistency on offense.
Against bad teams, Nick.
Against bad teams.
They went on a 5-game winning streak, and all those teams
No. This is a fact. They won 9 games this season.
I think so.
Are they
8-8?
They're
9-7.
They're 1-8 against teams with winning records, and they're 8-1 against teams. 7-1 against teams with records.
Come on, bro.
Yeah.
I think we evaluated Philadelphia as one of probably the worst teams in the league coming to the season, and they look like they were pretty on pace for that. About like week 8 or 9. And then I said, I have no reason to watch, shout out to Philly, Uzi.
All of their losses are to playoff teams.
That's what I'm saying. They probably, I haven't seen them be competitive with a team that's, really good, honestly.
They lost to San Fran by 6, Dallas by 20 and 25, lost to Kansas City by 12, lost to the Raiders by 11, lost to the Bucs by 6. And their one loss against a bad team was to the Giants by 6, 13-7.
So you got one competitive loss in there, losing to the Bucks by 6.
It was
And
competitive.
I'm about to say I didn't watch the game, so I don't know how true that score is. So, you like I said, you brought up a very good point, Vance, talking about Pittsburgh being on his last leg, especially going into Arrowhead. I think you could kind of mark that one down as a Big Ben's last game. But no, like I really don't know how Philadelphia. I mean, I know because they beat up bad teams, but yeah, I'm not a believer. This is not a team that needs to be excited about. They still have a lot of holes on this team that need to be filled. And honestly, them sneaking to the playoffs is just going to hurt their draft capital and how well, what kind of quality of prospect they'll be able to get in the first round. But shout out to them. Shout out to Philly. Like I said, Lil Uzi Vert, my boy Philly Zay, Freeway Rick Ross, things like that. But no, I really did not know they was good until like last week.
So, since apparently nobody believes in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, which wildcard team do y'all have the most faith in to make it out of wildcard weekend?
Like underdog or just period?
Just which wildcard team? Talking about the Steelers, Patriots, Raiders, Eagles, 49ers, and Cardinals. Out of those 6 teams.
I don't mean to sound like a hater, Vance. I really don't care if I do or not. But if we're gonna go off based off last week, I gotta say the 49ers. Deebo Samuel looked amazing, and both as a running back, as a receiver. Jimmy Garoppolo looked really good. The defense is kind of starting to round back into form. You get guys like Dre Greenlaw back that have been gone like most of the season. And they looked really good. And not to be, like I said, not to be too offensive, but y'all lose to Kyler and at home, which, again, I don't take too offensive because Kyler Murray doesn't lose in Texas. And y'all blow out Philadelphia, but y'all playing like a JV squad. So to me, Dallas hasn't looked that. Even I don't know if this is the week before 2 weeks ago or the week before, but then you're talking about losing to Kansas City, where we just basically 3 weeks ago we talked about what's wrong with Dak Prescott. So Dallas is definitely coming in just a little bit shaky, and the 49ers are coming on some momentum, barely squeezing into the playoffs. So none of these matchups are really favorable. If I had to base off talent alone, I would say Arizona. I still might can be convinced because they already beat LA one time this season. But outside of them two, I think the rest of these are washes, honestly. Like games I might not even watch, honestly. I might watch the Raiders and the Bengals, but like New England, Buffalo. I mean, New England could win, I guess. But Pittsburgh, Kansas City, no, actually, they're pretty good games. Actually, I don't know. I don't see New England beating up Buffalo in the exact same way that they did the first time, considering that Buffalo's already seen this. I love their O-line, but if you allow yourself to get pumped, the Buffalo defense to get pumped in the same manner as they did the first time, you don't deserve it. So I'm anticipating Buffalo winning. Like I said, Bengals, I anticipate them getting the Raiders out of there. Kansas City, Pittsburgh, not a discussion. Wouldn't be surprised if all the Rams beat the Cardinals. I think that'll probably be the best game of wildcard weekend, just because, honestly, looking at probably 2 of the 5 best teams in the NFL. If you took away division and stuff like that, and Eagles, Bucks, like I said, out of there. So yeah, like I said, the most talented team I think in the wild card definitely the Cardinals, but based on matchup, I would say the 49ers probably got the best chance.
This is gonna really contradict what I was just talking about. Joe Burrow is gonna have the best game out of all the rookies, which he could, but I believe Derek Carr might have the best game out of all the quarterbacks in the wild card round. They're a 5.5 point underdog against the Bengals, going up to Cincinnati. But with them being in a new city, I don't think they really just had a home field advantage this season. I mean, of course you're playing at home, but it's just like Vegas is a neutral city. I mean, of course they'll probably be 50-50 no matter where they go. They have a great fan base. I've never met a Bengals fan, never in my life. I've been a Chad Ochocinco fan, but that's it.
Have you ever been to Ohio though?
Have I ever been to Ohio? Yeah, I have actually. My uncle's. I don't remember what city I was a little kid, but either way it goes, bro. I believe this game is probably gonna, like all of these games, are gonna be close, come down to the final position, except for maybe one. I don't know. I even think the Steelers Chiefs are gonna be close. But with that being said, bro, I like Derek Carr. I like Josh Jacobs. He can match what Joe Mixon gives you. Darren Waller match what Chase gives you. It just depends on who defense steps up. And it's really a pick 'em. I mean, the Bengals have a great defense. Don't get me wrong. Like before the season even started, I said they had a really talented roster. They could make the playoffs. I didn't think it really was going to happen, but we are here now. I think both of these teams are kind of in the same position of, wow, they made it to the playoffs. What's next? One of these teams is going to make it to the division round. One team is just going to be happy making the playoffs, trying to this momentum going into next season. I'm going to go with the Raiders as the wild card.
I like y'all's picks. However, I don't like how Josh disrespected New England. And I think New England will be able to come out of Wildcard Weekend with a win. You think about similar conditions, blizzard, all of that in Buffalo. You look at their last two matchups with Buffalo. In the first matchup, the one the Patriots won, they rushed for 222 yards, only threw the ball 3 times and still found a way to win. In their second matchup, they were able to rush for 149 yards on the ground, even though they lost. And I think the run game will be key in this matchup. You look at a Buffalo team that gives up over 100 rush yards per game, a very middle-of-the-pack rush defense. I think that New England will be able to take advantage of that, run the ball, and come out with a win, especially if their defense steps up to the plate like they have all season. They're only giving up 17.8 points per game. This is an elite defense. They can run the ball, control the clock, and then get some stops and contain Josh Allen. I think the Patriots can come out of Wild Card Weekend successful and with the W.
No, that's a very good point. Everything. I get you as the stats / analytics guy. That points to it. But just you're a player too. But just speaking from a different perspective, more of a I guess a nuanced perspective. And you know this too, Nick. Just hard for me to envision one of the better teams in the NFL. You got Sean McDermott. That's like one of the most, they were just going head up with Kansas City 2 years ago in the AFC Championship. I just find it very hard to believe that, I'm going to say Doug McDermott. Sean McDermott will allow that team to be beat in a similar way that they got beat, like you said, 4 or 5 weeks ago. Because that first game, was that in Buffalo too, or was it in Foxborough?
Yeah, it was in Buffalo.
Because I said it was in Buffalo too. So I just can't see him allowing his team to get beat twice on their home field and in a way that they will be getting bullied, especially, in the playoffs. So everything, your analysis is correct. I definitely think that it could happen, but I just think that, pride and game plan will figure a lot into that matchup.
Mm-hmm. And so you mentioned, you know what I'm saying, the Bills were in the AFC Championship 2 years ago against Kansas City. And now, brand new playoffs, fresh set, whole new teams. Right now, who is your Super Bowl favorite? And we're going to revisit this when it comes that time. So be smart with your pick. Who is your Super Bowl favorite right now? Call it before the playoffs start.
I guess I feel like I've been talking a lot. I don't know. I'll keep going first. I don't know. I feel like it would be we'll be remiss to not mention Tom Brady and the defending Super Bowl champions. Man, Super Bowl favorite. And you damn near can't even call them like a favorite right now. Green Bay's been looking really good. I'm not gonna say that. I know who's not my favorite is the Titans. Till I see them back with Derrick Henry, I can't call them my favorites. See, I want to say LA, but I really don't know if they even get past the Cardinals.
Stand on it.
What?
Pick a team and stand on it.
I'm trying to figure it out, bro. Calm down. I want to say Green Bay too, but they always just seem to just come up short for some reason. Go first. Y'all go first. I'll figure it out.
You don't gotta ask me stupid questions. You know who I'm rocking with. I'm rocking with the Tennessee Football Titans.
That's actually surprising. That's surprising.
The best defense in the NFL. That's a fact. You can say whatever you want, but we've been riding on this defense the whole season, bro. We got some of the best wins in the NFL. That was the hottest streak that you see, and we did that with Derrick Henry. And we maintained the 1 seed without Derrick Henry, and he's coming back. Julio Jones finally looks healthy. Arthur Juan Brown, the Slant King, the Rat King, whatever you want, the Yak King, whatever you want to call him. He's healthy. Ryan Tannehill's throwing the ball good. And let's just say Derrick Henry's not running the ball good. Deontay Foreman is a beast. He's had 3 100-yard rushing games since he's taken over. The defense, don't even get me started. Where do you want me started? The D-line, the backers, or the secondary? Jeffrey Simmons should have been a Pro Bowler. We got Zach Cunningham. Just picked him up. He's doing real good. Bud Dupree from the Steelers, having a great season. It's very underrated. Then in the backfield, defensive backfield, you have Kevin Byer and Armani Hooker. Probably two top 10 safeties in the game right now, and that's not even disputable. I think they're the favorites. They just got to win 2 games. So let's just say they win this game. Next week, I don't know. They got to play maybe the Patriots. They got to host the Patriots. I mean, they already lost to them, but I think they can do it with a healthy team. So give me the Titans.
I like your pick. I like that you got a lot of confidence in your pick. But Tennessee Titans and Super Bowl just don't have that ring to it. You know what I mean?
It doesn't.
So,
not at all.
So what?
Not at all.
The Jets do.
Hey, bro. Hey, bro. Like, we can really hit about this shit. Like, we talking about playoff teams, bro. My team is. But guess what, though? When we play, who won? Next year. Yeah. Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead, Nick. It's your turn to pick your favorite.
Next game. In about 8 months, 9 months.
I don't know that the Titans versus the Jets are 1-0. I know that. The Jets are 1-0 versus the Titans. I know that. Nick, who your Super Bowl favorite, bro?
But when do
who your Super Bowl favorite, bro? Van, stop talking. X them out. Bow. X out. Done. Nada. Finito, like Chief said. Out of there. Stop talking to me, dog. Stop talking to me, dog.
When do y'all play again?
After we beat y'all, we took the rest of the
season. When do y'all play again? When do y'all play again?
Nick, who's your Super Bowl favorite, dog? Who's your Super Bowl favorite?
September, October. When does the season start?
I think it's Nick's turn to present his Super
Bowl
favorite.
Talking football, your team not even around.
Ooh.
Okay, so what? It doesn't matter. Your team is going to be out.
The Cowboys in there.
First of all, you got 2 teams. Lame. First of all, and then guess what? Your team's going to go 1 extra weekend than my team. Guess what? Draft, buddy. So it doesn't matter.
Going to be there next week. Cowboys going to be there next week. You a hater, bro.
You think so?
You so confused. Only reason
the Titans gonna be because
you had to make me and Nick pick first. You such a hater. You confused, bro.
I'm a hater. I'm a hater.
You confused. You was hating on the Cowboys. Now you hating on the Titans.
I did not hate on the Cowboys.
Hey, you know what's funny, Vance? He is confused. Yeah. All them times he picked against Memphis. Look what he got on.
He rocking Memphis gear. He over here trying to rush us to watch the Memphis game.
Hey, bro, what y'all said? I can't say what I want to say. Hey, bleep that out for me, Nick. Just know I got some very profane thoughts to you guys. You know, this is a group orphan. This is no Cap Sports podcast. This is not the Attack Josh Crawford podcast. But this is
attacking my team.
Oh God,
nobody attacked your team. Nobody attacked your team.
Ain't nobody scared of Deebo Samuel, bro.
That was an astute analysis. What you mean? I didn't attack your team.
No, you was getting off.
Nobody attacked your team.
You was getting off.
No, I did not. I did not.
Bro, the San Francisco 49ers. I ain't never.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Dudes, folks be so sensitive for no reason. Like,
no, I let it slide, but then you came at the Titans.
But nobody attacked your team.
That was my set. Yes, you did.
No, I did not. I did not attack. I didn't attack the Cowboys or the Titans. I didn't say neither. I didn't say nothing bad about either one.
You said the Cowboys are gonna lose, and then you said
no, I didn't. He said which one is more likely? What's the wild card is most likely?
Who's gonna win? Cowboys or 49ers?
If I'm betting
money, yeah.
If I'm betting money, no, I'm betting on the Cowboys. But he asked the question. Who is most likely? I can't pick the Cowboys, my nigga.
All right.
Damn.
All right, I hear you. Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
All right, bro. What's your pick, Nick?
All right, so
I'm about to say, you got me so riled up and shit. My glasses got dirty. Damn. Hold on, bro. Let me clean my glasses off real quick, dog. Got me heat.
Let me on the hot seat.
So my pick, my favorite to win the Super Bowl, got to go with the Last Dance squad, the Green Bay Packers, man. Now this year is different from all of the past years because you look at this Packers team. Not only do you have Devontae Adams, but you have a solid number 2 and a solid number 3. Looking at Allen Lazard and Randall Cobb, that's all Aaron Rodgers needs. And this defense is playing lights out. You look at the secondary with Jair Alexander. They finally found a corner on the other side in Eric Stokes. And you still got Kevin King also. I think this team is primed to win now. You look at how they played this season, all the wins they racked up. The number 1 seed that gives Aaron Rodgers sometimes, heal that toe up. And he's going to come back with a vengeance. He got something to prove. He wants to prove that he's that MVP player. And there's no better way to prove that than by putting a ring on your finger. So give me Rodgers and the Packers as my Super Bowl favorites.
just feels like they gonna fold. I don't know why.
No, it does for sure. It definitely does. Cause they probably the best team right now, but they gonna fold for sure.
Bro, you talk about a weak division, bro. They might be worse than the NFC East.
NFC North, Bears.
Bro, they got the Lions, the Bears, and the Vikings all losing records.
Yeah, that might be true. That might be true. For my Super Bowl favorite to pick, it is going to be a team that has won a Super Bowl recently. You know, people were throwing around that D word in terms of dynasty, which you know, whenever you hear that terminology, definitely you're talking about an all-time team, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. You know, obviously, 6 to 8 weeks ago, we were just talking about them getting to the playoffs. You know, not even trying to, not talking about them in the rarefied air in which we usually do. But since they beat Cowboys, actually, one of them teams they beat on Monday Night Football, something kind of turned their season around. I think it was the Colts actually. They kind of, things that kind of followed. Was it?
Yeah.
I mean, that'll hurt my feelings, but I mean, they got to win, bro. They turn the season around regardless of who they play. But you got Patrick Mahomes, 0.1% of quarterbacks in the NFL, best quarterback in the NFL, arguably the best receiving core in the NFL. You talk about Kelsey. I mean, these are things that we all know. The biggest adjustments for them, we talked about the defense they had to get in order. They've been strapping up recently. You got guys like Tyrann Mathieu. Dan Sorensen has been playing a little better. Not that much better, just a little bit better. But mainly the biggest addition, you got guys like Nick Bolton, too, rookie linebacker out of Missouri, had the big play, last couple days ago versus Denver for them to get that win in Mile High. But for my money, the biggest acquisition they had was Melvin Ingram. Somebody that came from Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
Last time came from Pittsburgh. Has always been an elite pass rusher. Somebody that quarterbacks, offensive tackles, even offensive coordinators have had to game plan and worry against. And that boosted that Kansas City pass rush, which for my money, pass rush is probably the most fundamental building block of a defense. If you can hurry a quarterback up, especially in the era that we're in now, the passing game and football, basketball on grass, that's probably one of the most important things you can have on defense. So, and the pass rush of that caliber in the middle of the season really revitalize that defense in terms of morale and production, but also in practicality, allow Chris Jones to move inside back to the defensive tackle position to where he's comfortable at. So after only having 1 second in the first 6 games, he's definitely going to turn his motor up and got guys. We got, when you bat a guy like a Melvin Ingram, it just takes the pressure off your other guys. So now, Luke is balling out, Frank Clark. Now look who's coming off the edge. You got that's all the only 2 passers really, but don't tell nobody. But yeah, you still got Frank. You got 2 elite. You got 2 guys that you can count on for pressure most of the game. You're talking about Frank Clark and Melvin Ingram. And then you got Chris Jones, one of the probably 2 or 3 best interior rushers in the league right now. So you got to solidify the front. You got to solidify front 4. That secondary is still in a little bit of development, but you got guys like L'Jarius Sneed have looked really impressive over the back half of the season. So all the problem was with that Kansas City. The biggest problem with Kansas City was that defense. So it seemed like they've gotten that in order, and now they're just looking back like the well-oiled machine they were before. The Patriots beat them last year.
Their offense has been suspect this season.
They changed their offense. I wouldn't say it's been suspect. They've changed it. They are missing the big shot plays. They're missing the big shot plays. Now they are more elongated. Let's drive the ball. You know what I'm saying? Kind of team. Because if you looked at that week 17 game, 18 game versus the Broncos, they had 11 play drives, 14 play drives. You know what I'm saying? We're used to Kansas City being that quick strike offense, but now they've kind of molded and changed to a more efficient, but not as flashy kind of offense. And I think that's worked for them in terms of getting Mahomes into a rhythm and kind of eliminating some of those turnovers he had early in the season.
I think everybody thinks the Kansas City is going to blow them out, but if it comes down to one of them final drives, bro, don't be surprised if the Steelers sneak one, bro.
I mean, they played 3 weeks ago, and it wasn't pretty.
I know. I'm just saying. If it is close, don't be surprised.
You got to get close first, bro. I don't think that Pittsburgh can make it close. I hate to see Big Ben go out like that, but, like I said, Kansas City came from – they was another team that's kind of dead in the water at the midpoint of the season that's now looking like their old self. So Pittsburgh was kind of dead in the water, never really got undead. They just kind of finagle their way into the playoff. We might talk about it a little later. If Las Vegas and San Diego do what they're supposed to do, they're not even in this situation. And I think that out of those three teams, they're probably the least talented.
All right, as you all know, NFL season, regular season is over. And so now we moved on to Black Monday. We had a couple of coaches fired from their head coaching position.
Dang.
Play a game
for black people.
Damn. I'm gonna play a game with you guys. It's called To Be or Not to Be. And basically, if they should still be there, it's to be. And if they should not be there, not to be. So the first coach I'm gonna ask is Joe Judge for the New York Giants. To be or not to be?
Not to be.
You already got fired, huh?
Terrible.
Not to be for sure though.
But so you agree with the move to get rid of him?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I never
for
agreed
sure.
with the move to hire him.
Wasn't he like a special teams coach or something before he became a head coach?
Special teams coordinator in New England, bro.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, that's not a jump that you're supposed to do. No, and then just some of the different things that I see versus him versus Brian Flores, like, yeah, big not to be.
All right, the next head coach had a 72-6-1 record over 8 seasons. He was the third winningest coach in Vikings history, Mike Zimmer. To be or not to be?
I'm going to say not to be because he was there for a nice amount of time, but he was never able to get that team over the hump. So sometimes, you know what I'm saying, you just need that one little change that could take your team to the next level. And this year, you have a pretty decent team. Looking at, second year with Jay Jets, Kirk Cousins been in the system 3-4 years now, and you don't make the playoffs for the second year in a row. That's a sign that, a change needs to be made.
I guess, Nick makes a really good point, in terms of, Mike Zimmer is a defensive coach. I just thought that was always a good matchup with, some of the offensive firepower they had, Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, some of the receivers versus, Mike Zimmer's ability to get defenses to play seemingly above their head. But I don't know. They just kind of been that team that has had the talent but hasn't been able to put it all together for a while now. That kind of coincided with Mike Zimmer's run. So I'll go not to be too. I think that they can get a coach that can, make some of those pieces fit together a little better than they do. This is a 10-win talent team, really. So, they haven't won 10 games in I don't know how long. Since with the Minneapolis Miracle, whatever. So, yeah, I think it's not as egregious as Joe Judge, but yeah, definitely to not to be.
Okay. The third coach he went 24-25 in his 3 years as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, and that's Brian Flores.
To be.
Or not
to be. We support black men over here. And even beyond support of black men, you talking about a guy that went on a 7-game winning streak. I thought he had a 7-game losing streak. And this is not the Vikings. This is not a team that is, super or just loaded with talent. You got Tua, who already people are shaky about whether or not what his status is as a franchise quarterback. Yeah, please feel free to keep naming me stellar Dolphins players. I mean, you got Byron Jones. Xavier Howard still play for them, right? He didn't get traded, did he? He did. So they got 2 good corners.
They got some talent on that team.
Devontae Parker, though, right? Yeah.
He was their leading receiver last year. He had over a rack. But looking at this Dolphins team, it's a good team.
Is he a number one, really? Is he somebody number one for real?
Definitely a number 2, but I think they complement each other nicely.
Exactly.
So who's the number one outside? So is Waddle the number one?
You got Walker Parker. They got somebody. The guy from Houston. The light-skinned dude.
Will Fuller. He got hurt.
Will Fuller, yeah. I'm tripping.
I mean, I don't know. Brian Flores made a lot of shake. He made that team a playoff team, and I don't think they had playoff talent. So based off of that, based on the support of black men, definitely to be, right? That means I'm in favor. He should have kept the job, right? To be.
Yeah. And especially only 2 seasons in, you look at a team that's winning 8-9 games a year. They won 9 this season. I want to say they went 8-8 last year, if I remember right. But this is a team that Brian Flores simply got to play better than what they were, and for that, he should have kept his job.
That's a fact. That's a Fendi fact right there.
Okay, so next coach, he was a 4-year coach. He went 34-31. This season he went 6-11, but he was the 2018 Coach of the Year. Matt Nagy of the Chicago Bears. To be or not to be?
Not to be. Because outside of that coach of the
Man, you
year,
could have
when
came
they
with some
had,
harder than that, bro.
These are coaches get fired. I'm just asking, should they have been fired?
yeah, not to be.
Go,
Because
Nick.
outside of that 2018 year, when the Bears had one of the best offenses in the league, Matt Nagy was the offensive guru with Kansas City. It just hasn't been there in Chicago, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And for that, sorry, buddy, but you got to go. Especially when you have a defense playing the way it is, and to see the offense struggle, you got to go.
Yeah, definitely not to be. I don't know who crowned Matt Nagy an offensive guru in Kansas City, but when you got Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, I think one of us could call players and be considered a guru. I think we played
He
enough
did the
madness
same
put
thing with
together
Mitch
some.
Trubisky because the Bears were top 5 in offense when he won Coach of the Year, by the way.
Oh yeah, that was when you was being stupid, calling Maserati mentions all that good stuff. Okay, whatever, Nick. Yeah, when you have somebody like, Matt Nagy really should have been fired to me, honestly, as soon as he committed to Andy Dalton over Justin Fields. So that was just really questionable to him. Khalil Mack has kind of consistently underperformed as their big defensive guy since he's been there. I guess you could put kind of onus on him. I don't know how old Khalil Mack is at this point, but I definitely don't think defense attention, things like that as well. But like Nick said, the overall play of the defense has definitely consistently gone downhill. And then you got a guy like Khalil Mack that I don't even know if Khalil Mack made the Pro Bowl this year. So
he got hurt mid-season, missed the rest of the season.
No, like I said, Matt Nagy, offensive guru. His title as offensive guru is questionable. He made something shake one year with Mitch Trubisky. So I guess he gets props for that. But he never was really that good, had a good of a head coach in my eyes. And then once you commit to Andy Dalton over Justin Fields, honestly, the time was ticking after that. So definitely not to be.
All right. The last coach that's been fired so far, he spent 3 years at his team, finished 19 and 30 overall. This season that's happening currently, they was looking like they was gonna make the playoffs at 7-6, but then they lost the last 4 games of the season, and the coach was fired, and that's Vic Fangio from the Denver Broncos. To be or not to be?
I say to be, because if you look at what Vic Fangio is, he's a defensive guy. That defense has been up to par. And I think a lot of the problems in Denver come from the front office. You look at the quarterbacks they brought in, Paxton Lynch, Drew Lock, Brock Osweiler, all of these guys, they haven't found their guy yet. And a lot of that blame goes back to John Elway, not the head coach. So I think Vic Fangio needs to have a little bit longer of a leash until they can find a serviceable quarterback like they did with Teddy Bridgewater in the beginning of the year. And I just think he was treated unfairly because a lot of the problems in Denver come from the front office, not the coaching.
Again, right. Well, score one down for Nick Hayes. I got to agree with that. It's so shocking that, John Elway is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. You have consistently struggled to find any kind of good quarterback. Not only good, it's really shocking how bad the quarterbacks he's brought in have been. Like, when you said those names, like, oh my God. Like, you said Brock Osweiler, not in the league no more. Paxton Lynch, not in the league no more. Who else did he bring in? Didn't he draft Tim Tebow too?
Probably.
Yeah, definitely not in the league. Played based announcer now. So yeah, it has been crazy. The quarterback being the most important position in football, but they haven't been able to build any kind of continuity or identify really any real talent there at that position. And like Nick said, Vic Fangio is a defensive guy, and that defense has been front and center in terms of some of the success, the little limited amount of success they had, and especially the performance that they had last week, fighting really hard against what a lot of people believe is the best team in the AFC, going down to a 1-point game until, Nick Bolton's, fumble recovery. That was a team that didn't have to fight like that. They had nothing to play for. It was weird. Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler were calling the name because, hey, why college guys call it NFL games? But I digress. But no, they both did a good job of pointing that out that, despite the fact that Denver, this game technically meant nothing to them. Melvin Gordon had a really good game. Drew Lock made some plays outside of the pocket. That was a team that was still fighting and competing for his head coach. So to see him let go in that manner after the team obviously believes in him still, it's kind of disappointing. So I had to go. I had to agree with Nick. So to be right, he should have kept the job.
Okay,
I had to go with to be.
That's it for the fired coaches, but there's also former coaches whose jobs have been rumored to be on the hot seat. I don't want us to go too deep into the causes, but I just want to ask, would you guys fire him or would you guys keep him? So first coach is David Coley of the Houston Texans, to be or not to be?
To be. You can't fire a coach after 1 year.
Facts. It's just not enough of a sample size. They was trotting out a SWAC team down there in Houston. So,
well, that's pretty much going to answer my question for the next coach, and that's Brandon Staley for the Los Angeles Chargers.
Same thing, to be. I like his mentality, though.
Nah, I'm going to go not to be, critical mistake, very critical mistake at the end of the game yesterday. A couple days ago, I guess, with the like you literally play yourself out of a playoff spot. That's it's hard. Well, not really that hard, but we know as all players, players control the games. Coaches only have a certain amount of impact in between the lines while the game is really happening. So for a coach, like that was probably the biggest and most crucial error in decision making I've seen from a coach in a long, long time. So they got Justin Herbert behind them, but honestly, again, supporting black men, I don't know why they let go of Anthony Lynn, to be honest. They struggled kind of a little bit in close games, but I didn't see that problem get that much better with them this year. So not to be for Brandon Staley, especially after last week. Not to be, definitely so.
All right. And with the next head coach, when you think quarterback head coach relationships, I think this relationship has been second to Brady and Belichick in the past 10 years. And that's going to be Pete Carroll, the Seattle Seahawks. With the breakup possible.
Ooh, no.
With Russell Wilson, to be or not to be?
I'd say not to be. Just because I feel like he's overextended his stay in Seattle. You've won, 2 Super Bowls already?
Won one and went to another.
Oh, yeah. You've been to 2 Super Bowls, won one. I think it's just time for, you know what I'm saying? You've accomplished everything you need to accomplish in Seattle. I think it's time for a change.
So where does Pete Carroll, Pete Carroll's what? Mid to late 70s? Like, where does he go after this, Nick? He's already been accomplished at the collegiate level with USC. He's already been successful in the pros with Seattle. It's a common cliche, it's just kind of his time to go. But I don't really see it here. This is a down year. They had a lot of injuries. Jamal Adams doesn't look like he's making the impact that they envisioned him having. But they also lost a lot of close games too. And this is not a team that, again, the record where they ended up with 5-11 or 6-11. The record it looks pretty bad. Now maybe just like I said, the track record that he has, me willing to give him a lot longer release than some of these other guys. But I would definitely say to be, like I said, you still got Russell Wilson there. He talked about it, Vance. That relationship will probably be critical in him either staying or leaving. And also, you still got pieces. I said that with the Texans, but you got real pieces with Seattle. You got DK, Tyler Lockett, Rashad Penny was like a real live, breathing running back all of a sudden. You still got Jamal Adams. You still got, Bobby Wagner. You still got, guys like Attila Witherspoon, big, raw, talented guys. Brandon Flowers, Trey Flowers, bigger guys, scouts with raw talent that need to be refined. So, I would definitely say to be for Pete Carroll. There's a little bit too much meat on the bone left in Seattle for him to leave like this.
Okay, and the final coach, worst clock manager in the NFL, Mike McCarthy of the Dallas Cowboys, to be or not to be?
I think a lot of this comes down to how they perform in the playoffs, but he's led the Cowboys to one of their most successful seasons in recent history. So I say to be, outside of that 13-3 season, what that was like 3 years ago, Dak rookie year, I say to be for Mike McCarthy.
Here's the thing. You don't, like Nick just said, they had one of their better seasons in team history this season. But I don't think any of it was due to – I think they almost won in spite of Mike McCarthy, a lot of emphasis. You talk about, the lack of the time management issue. Some of the issues that they had getting that offense going in the middle of the season. Some of the defensive issues that they had at the beginning of the season. I'm not going to be the guy that says you fire a coach after going, 11-5? But I was just say not to be. You can replace Mike McCarthy's interchangeable with about 15, 20 guys out there that's, don't have a job that could probably do it. Like You don't think the Cowboys can go 14-2 under Eric Bieniemy with all that talent? Like, come on, bro. So I'll say not to be.
All right. And my final question to you all is, out of all the head coaching vacancies, which one is the most appealing to take? You got the Giants, the Vikings, the Dolphins, the Bears, and the Broncos.
I would say the Vikings, just because you have an established quarterback. You've got a top 10 player, in my opinion, in Dalvin Cook. And you've got a defense that is a shell of what it used to be, but there are still pieces on that defense to be an elite unit. So I would say the Vikings are the most attractive destination. You're looking at a team that's middle of the pack, an 8-9 win team, depending on how you know what I'm saying, look at it, in a very weak division also. So I would say the Vikings are the best job out there right now.
That was the first answer that popped in my head, Nick, when he asked that question. But just a little bit of deeper thinking led me to the Broncos. Like you said, the biggest difference between them and the Vikings obviously established quarterback play, but everywhere else is pretty. I would say everywhere else is pretty decidedly in favor of the Broncos. Got young talent on offense. You talk about Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Javonte Williams. Even Drew Lock, he's not, again, Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater. Neither one of those guys are your guys per se, but those are pretty good options to have as a stopgap for right now until you find that guy. And honestly, comparing the Vikings and the Broncos, Kirk Cousins looks amazing in the regular season, but in the playoffs, I don't know how much better he will look than either one of those guys.
Gotta make the playoffs first, though, brother.
That's true. But also, you talk about the Vikings defense. That Bronco defense is what that Vikings defense looked like probably 2-3 years ago. We talk about pass rushing. Talking about guys on the outside. Talking about some of their linebacker play. So yeah, that Bronco defense I think it was a top 10 defense this year. And some of the pieces that they got on offense, I think in terms of long term, I think the Broncos may be a better option.
As always, we got to end this episode by giving out our game balls. So I'm going to start first. Got to give it to Ja Morant, NBA Player of the Week. A week where the Grizzlies went 4-0, and Ja was putting up 25, 6, 6, 1, and shooting 51% from the field. Also, just a little icing on the cake, he beat the Warriors on Tuesday to spoil Klay Thompson's second game back by dropping the stat line of 29 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Out-hooped Steph Curry, so I'm not going to say it, but might be the best point guard in the league.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, Nick. Go ahead, Vance.
Okay, I'm gonna keep it in the city, University of Memphis. I'm gonna go with a guy that's recently starting to get more and more playing time, and I think it correlates a lot to the Tigers' success. And that's forward out of Florida, Josh Minot. Memphis, University of Memphis. They had all these all of the star power in the class came from Armani Bates and Jalen Duren, and he's probably been just as impactful as those two, especially as he started the last 3 games, which they won against Wichita State. They just beat Cincinnati, and they beat Tulsa last week. And in 26 minutes per game, he's averaged 12 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and two steals. And I just think he's playing very well, and he's starting to give Memphis that needed boost that they needed.
Yeah, that was a really good pick, Vance. What they say about those guys named Josh. Baller alert, you know what I'm saying? Continuing with the college basketball thing, I have to give my game ball to Johnny Davis of Wisconsin. So I actually asked you guys who Johnny Davis was before we started right before we started recording. Both of y'all said no. So y'all really don't know who he is for real?
No, I know you love Big Ten basketball.
I do not love Big Ten basketball.
Big Ten athletics. You gave it to Jaden and Ivy last week.
Oh, God.
Big Ten athletics definitely makes me sleepy, but those are 2 of the most exciting guys. College basketball right now. Okay, let me tell you this. Johnny Davis, first of all, FIBA U19 gold medal winner last year. Every time you get involved with like USA basketball and things like that, they kind of just tells you the level of prospect and, kind of athleticism guys like that him hold. So that's obviously like a check mark that you can put on your resume. And then obviously you want a gold medal. How many times you can win a gold medal for your country? This guy went from averaging. He played for Wisconsin. He played all 31 games last year. Didn't start a game. It was kind of like their Super 6 man. But he went from averaging 7 points a game to 23 this year. So that's a pretty massive jump in terms of productivity and things that you're doing for your team all around. So this is the guy that his 3-point percentage has actually dropped a little bit from like 39% to like 37%, but he's upped his efficiency in terms of assists rate, usage rate, 2-point field goal efficiency, and also highlight play. This, we talk about Wisconsin, you think about guys named, Bob and Bill, fundamental basketball off the backboard, stuff like that. I encourage you to go. I encourage y'all to look up Johnny Davis right now, and you will see none of those things. This guy is shooting over people, crossing them up, dunking on them, and I bet y'all didn't know that Wisconsin is a top 20 team right now in the AP poll. So, like I said, Wisconsin, again, Big Ten athletics in general makes me sleepy. We see what Georgia did in Michigan. But, right, like I said, 23 points a game from 7 last year, especially in a major power conference. Not a lot of guys do that. He does it in a very exciting fashion. So, he's probably the leader for, Naismith, the Naismith Award winner right now. Because, again, you don't see a lot of guys doing it in Wisconsin. So, I guess I do. I guess this is my second Big Ten pick in the last podcast. So I guess I am watching a little bit more Big Ten athletics than I let on. But salute Johnny Davis and what he's doing right now for just being a black guy in Wisconsin. Like, that's difficult enough as it is. And he's thriving in that role. Shout out to Johnny Davis and all the bunnies he got out there, man. And I'm not talking about Hawks.
For sure. And so with that, man, we finna wrap this episode up. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe.
What? To my mom?
Yo, nah, easy in that mind.
So, like I said, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, do all that. Follow us on our socials. Make sure you check out the highlight tapes we've been posting too, and
Man,
keep it locked in.
Baby.
I just need 200 in the case, and that's all I'm gonna say. And so with that,
what cents?
we out of here.
Big bang boom, baby.